It's about that time of day again here, boys and girls. Welcome back, kids. You know what time it is. Welcome back to our nightly newsletter. My name is Joseph James. School of Trade, Sideways Markets. What day is it today? Today's Tuesday, the 11th of March. Guys, we've only got 9 more days until spring equinox. Are you ready for that? Spring equinox, right? It's for guys like me, right? I'm an optimist, so the glass is always half full. So starting March 20th this year, right? Of course, spring equinox means that we have equal amounts of sunshine and equal amounts of of darkness, right? And of course, for optimists like me, that means every day now, right, gets better and better. So don't say I didn't warn you. Make sure your glass is half full as well. And we'll see you guys on March 20th. I know I'm ready. Now, we're going to talk today about the great blizzard of 1888, a little bit of Paul McCartney. We'll talk about crude oil inventories here today. We'll take a look at some of the big moves that were made in the markets today. And then I got some charts ready for you here towards the end of this newsletter here this evening. Welcome back. Settle on in. We got an exciting newsletter here for you this evening. Now, first of all, for a day without any news, this is what I'm talking about, boys and girls. Big moves in the markets today. Guys, this is why we love being traders. This is the stuff we live for. Yesterday was a sleeper. Boy, we got everything we needed today, though, didn't we? Reversals early in the session, trends at the end of the session. Guys, if you didn't make any money today, we get to do something different tomorrow, right? So come out and see me tomorrow in the trade room. If you had problems with today's trading, guys, it was as easy as, well, falling out of a horse, right? Falling off a horse. Crude drops, Russell drops, gold pushing higher. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. First of all, last night on the newsletter, we talked about short selling on crude, easy selling opportunities today on crude. I told you guys about crude. Don't be surprised. It's going lower. Gold last night. Now, if you checked out our newsletter, if you logged into the members materials last night, we gave you guys selling opportunities on gold at 48.1 and mini Russell at 02.1. So crude oil, it was sell all the way down today. We talked about that last night on the newsletter. And of course, you got gold. We gave you guys last night as members. Members, of course, get all these charts. And last night we talked about on the newsletter there, short at 48 on gold and short at 02 on the Russell, both of which worked out very well. Members, don't take my word for it. Go back into your members materials and check last night's newsletter charts. They were attached to yesterday's trade room recording. All right? Remember where those are. Markets today. Big mover here today. I'm going to say it was Russell, but really the big mover, in my opinion, was crude today. Crude down 222 ticks. That's a relatively big move there, boys and girls. That's 1.44%. And that's right. We're back to double digits, baby. We are back to double digits. Fill up the gas tank, soccer moms, because we got some cheaper black gold out there. Very easy to see this coming. Once everybody cooled down about the whole Russia snafu, right? Annexation of Crimea, whatever you want to call it. We knew this was coming. It was easy as pie to be able to grab these trades short on crude. Hope you guys made some money on crude. This is why I love being a trader. When crude's jumping up over fears in Russia, we'll buy it. Once those fears calm down, come right back down, baby. Bring it right back down where we started from. It's easy. It happens every time. Stick around. It'll happen again. Gold today, up 152 ticks. Gold's reacting to slowdown concerns in China. We've got some concerns about the economic woes in Japan. We're still waiting to kind of shrug off this bad weather in the U.S. Gold pushing higher, just below 75 basis points, 71 basis points here this afternoon, and closing just below that 1350 area. Still stuck in the mud a little bit around this 1340 to 1350 range on gold right now. Big move on Russell today. 232 ticks down today on Russell, down over 1%, 1184.9. Is anybody surprised? Now, I know that you guys weren't listening to me yesterday saying I was surprised that it hadn't pulled back further. Remember, we went to all-time highs. Big round number 1,200. Everything said today, or early this week, it should have come down. I was surprised yesterday, I was surprised to see that we hadn't seen a bigger pullback yet, right? Maybe I was the one that gave it a push. I don't think so. More profit taking, though, on the equities here. There's really no reason other than that for this price to be dropping. And I've got the chart of the day today, which we'll talk about in a moment. I'm expecting a little bit, one more leg down on the Russell. And we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Don't skip ahead. Don't skip ahead. Come on, stick around with me here. You can get to that in a second. Let's keep going with news today. Now, there was no major news on the economic schedule for the U.S. today. But looking at these big ranges, you would have no idea there was no major news today. Yesterday was a Monday without any major news. The first day after daylight savings time. Everybody was a little bit drowsy yesterday, I think, and that really affected the markets. Today, though, everybody came back with a vengeance. Apparently, everybody took my advice and got some sleep last night. So big ranges today, but not very much news. Now, kind of some perimeter news here, some peripheral news, I guess you would call it. We're watching closely these economic woes in Japan. Now, to bring you guys up to speed right now, they were anticipating a much better beginning of this year and end of last year because they've got this new VAT tax. They've got this income tax hike. Sales tax hike. And so we call it a VAT tax here in this part of the world. And basically this tax rate, the last time they increased taxes, right, consumer taxes in Japan, it sent the economy into a tailspin, right, dropping. So economists, analysts, everybody was expecting to see a bigger push at the end of 2013. Basically, if Japan's going to raise their sales taxes, they expected everybody to go out and buy before that sales tax went up, but it didn't happen. So, I don't know. We're going to be watching this closely, but Japan's got a big problem on their hands right now. If you want to read more about it, there's a link there in the blog. Just click on that little hyperlink, and that will take you to a story. You can read more about what's happening regarding the financial woes in Japan. Now, the Japanese are no stranger to a big deficit. They get the biggest deficit ever. I recently took some time in Japan, went to Tokyo, and I was just blown away by the infrastructure. And it dawned on me at that point how their deficit was so big. Just enormous amounts of infrastructure there. They've been printing money in Japan for a century now. Russian annexation of Crimea. I guess Crimea is the way they pronounce it. Who would have known? But bottom line is, it looks like it's going to happen. It looks like the area of Crimea is going to be annexed to Russia. Again, there's a link there for you. Click on that. You can learn about what annexation is all about, and you can learn about what's happening in Russia. So it does look like Crimea will be included now into Russia. Not sure how far that will go. We'll keep you updated on it, but that's what we know right now. It's clearly not affecting the markets we're trading right now. So sounds fine by me. And of course, this slowdown in China right now. Remember, we had this issue yesterday. We talked about the trade deficit. Manufacturing is really slow right now. Well, this slowdown in China, and again, read more about it by finding that hyperlink in the blog. This is causing crude oil here now to start to push lower. Crude oil now down, second day in a row, down $1.50 today, and we're now below 100. So Chinese slowdown, we're back to normal after this little snafu in Russia. Crude's coming right back down. Now, you might want to change the channel if you're a bull on crude right now. I got some bad news. The API number came out, right? The American Petroleum Institute. The night before we get crude oil inventories, we hear from the American Petroleum Institute. Kids, write this down. Inventories are on Wednesdays at 10:30 a.m. Yeah, Wednesday, like in tomorrow Wednesday. The night before that news comes out, i.e. Tuesday evening, right now, at 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday, the night before inventories, we hear from the American Petroleum Institute. This is a little bit of a foreshadowing on what we're expecting to see tomorrow. So if tonight's news, which was a positive 2.63 million barrels, which is quite a bit of excess inventory, by the way, it's the third straight week, and it's the highest inventory since the beginning of the year. What is that telling us? Well, I always think of inventory like a shoe store. All right, so JJ's Shoes, right? We're very well known here in Los Angeles, by the way. JJ's Shoe Store has a problem with inventory. What's my problem? My problem is I'm either not selling enough or I'm ordering too many from the manufacturer. Either there's too much supply or there's not enough demand. So right now on crude, we're wondering, is it a supply concern? Probably not. it's most likely a demand concern. Now, how do we confirm that? Well, tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. in the morning, which we're going to talk about in just a few minutes, we're going to be looking at crude inventories. Tomorrow, if you're in my trade room, I pay for all that real-time data. You're not going to get this information on a Forex Factory or a Econo Day. You got to pay for this stuff, unfortunately. So one of the perks of being in my trade room is that you get the benefit of all the paid data, right? All the paid news data. So tonight we heard the API number. And again, you won't be able to get that anywhere else besides this paid data. Believe me, I wouldn't be paying for it if I didn't have to. And then tomorrow, here's the trick tomorrow. We're going to be listening in closely tomorrow because I want to listen to what the demand number comes out tomorrow. In my humble opinion, it's the demand reading regarding these inventories that's the most important. Because I think we can agree, higher inventories, like in the example of JJ's shoe store, could mean either too much supply or not enough demand, right? Not enough people buying shoes. How can we nail that down? Tomorrow morning, we're going to hear at 10:30 a.m., we're going to hear what that demand number comes out tomorrow. The last 2 weeks, demand's been rock bottom. And I have a funny feeling, see this chart? I got a funny feeling that might continue tomorrow. Just a guess. I'm going to wait here to see. Again, I don't predict. I have a good idea. I got a good clue, right? But I'm not going to predict. Before I put that stamp of approval on my shorts tomorrow, I'm going to make, no, not my shorts. Yes. Pants, shorts, pantalones. No, the other shorts, right? The short selling, just in case you guys got confused back there. My shorts tomorrow, guys, this is not that webinar. Different webinar. My short selling opportunities tomorrow are going to be waiting for that inventory number tomorrow at 10:30. All right, don't say I didn't warn you, and stick around. I'm going to talk more about tomorrow's news in just a moment. All righty? So, news comes out, no major news today. Japan's economic woes, Russian annexation of Crimea, slowdown in China, and inventories this evening on crude. Pretty important stuff. In fact, I'm very interested to see what happens over the next few weeks regarding Japan and Russia. Be very interesting stuff there that will affect our markets. This day in history. Now, it's always one of my favorite times of our newsletter. March 11th, 2014 is today. In 1888, here in the U.S., we had the worst snowstorm in the history of our country. We had 2 days of torrential rain, which then turned to a blizzard. It's known as the Blizzard of 1888. 400 people died. If you want to see some insane photography, go to Google, just type in Blizzard of 88 or just click on that link right there I gave you. Yeah, click on the hyperlink and look at those pictures. You've got these men standing in front of these huge walls of snow and it's mind-blowing. It makes the little snowstorm we've had this winter look like a little tiny sprinkling, a little flurry, right? We've had a lot of snow this Christmas, this winter here in the United States. And of course, it's nothing compared to that Blizzard of 88. So very cool there, the Blizzard of 88. Now, fast forward, a little bit of somber news here, right? Only a few years ago, 3 years ago, Japan is struck by an earthquake that was at first not a very big deal. But sure enough, that earthquake turned into a 23-foot tsunami. Now, the numbers of deaths revolving around that are still unknown. In fact, many family and friends were never found. We are still here in Los Angeles. We're still finding debris that's coming across the Pacific. It's absolutely incredible. Probably one of the saddest times in the last 10 years for, of course, the country of Japan. And, of course, our hearts go out to everyone who was affected by that and continue to be affected by that. You know, there's a lot of things that are still going on in Japan, right? Rebuilding. So I recommend follow that link that I gave you guys there and learn about that earthquake, learn about what they're doing ever since, right? Celebrating their 3-year anniversary today. A little bit of sad news. I remember it like it was yesterday, watching these pictures on television and just being so terrified for these people. It really was something that if you don't know about it, you must learn about it. A very important part of our history. And of course, we can't forget about 1997, Mr. Paul McCartney, right? One of the more reputable names, one of the more famous names of the most successful rock band in the history of the world, a little band called the Beatles. Mr. McCartney was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II for his services to music. Now, boy, I wonder if she's still doing that. I wonder if I can get myself a little knighthood. Do they call it knighthood? Am I knighted? Am I given some knighthood? What is the exact term? Maybe I'll ask her if she'll knight me for day trading services. I don't think so. Something tells me they put somebody else in that position before me. So this day in history, quite a bit of interesting stuff there. A little bit of a somber note there out of Japan, and kind of love that blizzard of '88. Now that you know this day in history, let's get ready for tomorrow. All right? History is behind us. Let's get ready for tomorrow. First of all, finally, we got some news we can work with. Now, economic news is important because it's a shot in the arm for our volatility. It's not absolutely required. As you saw today, we didn't have much news in the counter today. So even though we don't need news, it sure as heck helps. It sure as heck helps. Today here, this evening, now going with that news out of Japan this evening, 7:50, about an hour from now, you're going to want to be, and this is of course if you're trading overnight this evening, 7:50 p.m. out of Japan, we got producer prices. Now remember, we're going to be watching this economic situation in Japan develop over the next few weeks, so these news events become more and more important. On top of that, we then fast forward to tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I've got industrial production in the European Union. Be aware of that. Big red star news tomorrow. If you're a European session trader, if you're trading London tomorrow morning, by the way, London is from 3 a.m. until 7 a.m. Eastern time. If you're trading London tomorrow, 6 a.m., you got to be aware of that. Got to be aware, industrial production. And if anybody's trading the U.S. session tomorrow, that news tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., that's what's going to push our volume up and our ATR up. Now, if you're not a member of mine, you have no idea what I'm talking about right now. But if you're a member of mine, I'm looking at you. 6 a.m. tomorrow, when we come in at 8 a.m. tomorrow and trade the U.S. session, do not be surprised if we see high ATR, high volume, and I'll let you guys remember what that tells us for tomorrow. Stick around for tomorrow morning. We'll analyze, right? Look, I'm an English teacher. We will analyze the charts tomorrow morning, looking specifically tomorrow at 8 a.m. at average to range and volume totals, because that's going to tell us if the news at 6 a.m., if it took everything out. More to come tomorrow morning in our trade room. If you're not a member, you can't attend the trade room. Guys, come on. See me tomorrow in the trade room. Come out and see me. We'll trade together. Then we fast forward now. The only major news tomorrow in the U.S., 10:30 a.m., crude oil inventories. We talked about this already. Every Wednesday, 10:30 a.m., we get inventories. Every Tuesday, 4:30 p.m., the night before, we get inventories, right? Two different agencies report them. API tonight, EIA tomorrow, and tomorrow we are excited to see what that number will come out as, because again, the API number tonight, the highest since January 2014, the third straight week of a higher build, more inventories. Does that mean less demand or too much supply? We're going to find out tomorrow at 10:30. Now remember, tomorrow, if you're trading crude futures, be careful before 10:30. Don't be surprised if it's sloppy and slow and range bound. But your patience will pay off. Wait until about 15 minutes, right? I need another hand. 15 minutes after that inventory number comes out. Why? Because oftentimes the knee-jerk reaction to that inventory number is completely backwards. So don't fall victim to that jump up at 10:32. Wait for it to sell off at 10:37. Try to resist the temptation to jump into that inventory report too soon after 10:30. In my trade room, we're 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after. So from 10:15 to 10:45, we are sitting on hands, not trading crude. Remember, crude oil inventories only applies to crude tomorrow. So everything else, we'll trade right on through it. So be careful tomorrow before 10:30. And don't say I didn't warn you about that big move coming afterwards. We're going to have to see what happens overnight tonight. We may have a spoiler from the EU. If the EU's industrial production comes out higher or lower than expectations, it may push crude around, so we may have a range-bound situation tomorrow before the news comes out. We'll find out again tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. But be ready 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after crude. Don't trade that stuff. And again, don't be surprised if it's very slow and sloppy beforehand. Wait patiently. Your patience will be rewarded tomorrow after 10:45 on crude. Now, trying out some new ideas here for our nightly newsletter. Rather than just going through crude oil here for our charts this evening, in the second portion of our newsletter, I'm going to start going over the chart of the day. My vision on this is to provide you with a directional clue and provide you with some targets for each of our three favorite markets, Russell, gold, and of course, my baby, crude oil futures. So looking at the chart of the day here today, let's go right on down them. We'll start first with crude oil. Now, crude oil, the chart of the day here, which of course you should see in the lower left-hand corner here now, and below this video, right? So below this video, you'll see the chart of the day today for crude. Basically, with 3 weeks in a row of higher inventories, the concern over the trade deficit, the manufacturing in China, and of course, without any real news, right, we're about right now, we are bearish on crude right now. And if you look at today's chart of the day here, I have a great sell zone up there at 101.54 to 101.12. I repeat, 101.54 to 101.12. That's ideally where I want to get short. Now, we're moving lower. I get a target at 97.78. That target at 97.78 is a long-term extension off the high of 105.22. So here's how I'm going to trade it. With every new lower low, I'm looking for wave patterns, retracement patterns to get in short with the target at 97.78. If we don't make lower lows, though, I'm going to be patient to sell that 101.12, right? There's a big trend line in the chart. So I'm selling the 101.12, I'm selling the 101.54, and I'm selling that trend line. My target still remains at 97.78. So short term, we may see a retracement up, but that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for price on crude to come up here, get me to that 101.12, get me to that 101.54, so I can sell this thing right back down to 97.78. Now, if we don't jump up, new lower lows, wave short, wave short, wave short. Wait, what? Wait, you don't know what the wave pattern is? Guys, come on, you got to come out and see me in the trade room. Come see me in the trade room, attend trainings. I'll teach you everything I know. When I say wave pattern, members know exactly what I'm talking about. Cross, lower low, test the trigger box, right? You know what I'm talking about, members. Guys, if you're not a member, what are you waiting for? You're missing out on opportunities like this on crude. So crude, new lower lows, wave short, wave short, wave short, down to 97.78. That's my chart of the day there for crude. Let's talk about gold. Now, with all the concerns, again, with the possible snafu erupting in Russia, with the slowdown in China, without much other news right now, I get a bullish short-term trend on gold. I've got a buy there at 37.8, and we've got targets above us on gold right now at 52.9, 63.4, and 70.3 this evening. So looking at my gold chart of the day, again, below the video, you're going to see this beautiful bullish channel with targets overhead at 52.9, 63.4, and 70.3. Now again, how will I trade that? Well, I'm going to take every opportunity that I can to buy the lows of that channel. So if we don't go higher here overnight, wait for it to pull back. I'm looking for buys around that 1344. I would love to buy the 1339 area like I did before. But again, if we pull back, look to buy that low of that channel. If we don't pull back, wave long, wave long, wave long, every new higher high, pull back into our trigger zone. Wait for the reversal bar trigger, and we're in long. Targets at 52.9. Now, be aware the top of that channel may change a little bit here. So make sure you guys remember that top of that channel will be resistance. Right now, it's perfect for that target at 52.9. But if we don't get there for a while, the top of that channel may interrupt us between the two targets. So be aware, you must take profit at the top of that channel. All right? Don't waste your own time. Take that money, lock it up. And then we're going to try to hold on to it, 63.4 and 70.3. So bullish on gold. Again, concerns over China. Targets are above us here. We get that prior week high at 55.0. Everything right now tells me to be bullish on the gold, and we're going to follow right along with it. Now you guys know your targets. And then, of course, we can't forget about the Russell. How could I forget about the Russell? right, our mighty mini Russell. Now, members, I'm going to put all of these charts into the course materials this evening. So if you're a member of School of Trade, I'm going to fill in all the gaps between these charts. So log into your advanced membership course attached to this evening's recording of the trade room. You're going to see all of these charts as well as all the supporting charts. The Russell, I have a sell zone overhead. Again, we're bearish on Russell right now. We get a little bit of support here at this 84 area on the anchor chart. Again, I'll show you guys that as members here this evening. But there's a sell zone overhead here at 92.9. That's where I want to be selling short. So the ideal scenario here is letting the Russell jump up and then smacking that thing right back down. I get a target back here at 72.9. So Russell is bearish. I don't think that they're reacting to any news right now. I think they're being good traders and taking profit right now. We're below all the key moving averages. Now, members, again, log into your account tonight. Check out the charts that I post. We have the 200 moving average that is as support on the anchor. So that's the only little issue that's going to cause this thing to not drop like a rock here. So I'd love to get short at 92.9, 95.6. But again, every new lower low, wave short. New lower low, wave short. New lower low, wave short. And I got my target at 72.9 below me. So a recap here. Bearish on the Russell, bearish on the crude, bullish on the gold. Alrighty? Don't say I didn't warn you guys. Have yourselves a fantastic, fantastic evening. And remember, I'm always looking for your feedback. So whatever feedback you've got, what do you love, what do you hate, I want to know about it. Now again, members, I'm going to finish up with all my charts right now. Non-members, you've got the charts of the day, so use those for trading opportunities tonight and tomorrow. Be aware of the news coming in overnight. And again, tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. with industrial production. And members, log into your advanced course account. And I got all the rest of these charts for you waiting there for you guys for tomorrow. Alrighty? Great job today. Very good day in the markets today. We're having fun. We're making money. That's what being a trader is all about. Hope you guys learned something. Hope you earned something. Don't forget to come join me tomorrow in the trade room. And we'll see you guys next time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.